Hi, we have another third line day. We are in gate 52, the gate of inaction, and it is called, the third line is called controls. There's a lifetime learning that says external enforcement of inaction. The 52, if it doesn't actually know what it's doing, if it's not aware of itself, if it doesn't live out its own nature, if it gets involved in putting its attention to something and doesn't realize what's expected of it at the other end, then it can get quite a shock. After all, this is about the collective process of sharing. It's a very interactive process in that sense. And yet this is lower trigram and they don't really have that gift. In the exaltation, we have the ability by its very nature to understand restraint with the potential in acceptance to use this period to redefine strategies. The energy for acceptance in inaction. These are people who learn that inaction from outside forces is something that they have to cope with. It's one of the things they have to bump into. If you have a 52 line 3 child who decides that they want to learn how to play the piano, but they won't practice unless you kind of threaten them with all kinds of punishments to do so. Well, one day they may turn around and say, thank you so much for making me play the piano, for making me practice. I appreciate your control. But at the moment that you let go of being that external controlling force for them, then they don't focus or concentrate. When you consider genetic continuity, then that means that all children who carry third lines, none of them are really very good at focusing that well or concentrating that well, because things keep on happening to distract them. And it's third line, they keep banging into things or things bang into them. They might be sitting reading something and then something takes their attention away, maybe actually what they've read, and so they go on an internal journey in a completely different direction. And 2 hours later, they come back to themselves and realize they've absorbed nothing from what they've been reading. They've just been drifting. Because of this, outside controls are always going to come into the life of all third lines. That's how they learn in their trial and error process. The third line has been living in a cave almost, it doesn't really know about the world on the outside. A lot of what maybe it thought it knew doesn't work. And so they need that external control. It's enforced on them through their life process. In the detriment, we have a deep dissatisfaction with controls that disturbs tranquility, leads to emotional withdrawal and affects vision. The pressure of restraint disturbs tranquility. This is the very same child who is told that they have to do their homework and they're sent to their room and left there. And depression sets in, or the child gets very angry, depending on its nature and its design. The 52-3 has to bang into being controlled. Learning what it's like not simply to release that energy, but to focus it, to learn what focused energy really is. And then when they do learn it, they can be great. There's real genius in the third lines after all. They bang into enough things, they learn their lessons, and they're built for this. There's a resilience in the third line that equips them for this process. They are still lower trigram, however, and so they're not equipped to deal with the other, even though they keep on banging into them. The third line brings in the beginnings of the interaction with the other side because of that constant meeting, but it is still very much about trial and error. So with the 58-3 grounding this, it's called electricity. So the 58 has the energy. They have the vitality and the zest for life. And this acts as a grounding to the inaction of the 52. How does this work? Is it a comfort for the 52 to have that buzz of life grounding it? Or is it an uncomfortable sensation to feel that buzz of energy when you're concentrating and keeping still? Do you have these activations at all? Would you like to share anything about how this feels for you or how you experience it? It's always interesting to hear other people's experiences. I don't have either of these gates. So for me, unless I'm given anecdotes to share and to tell, and it's how I pick up, really. There's so much information about these gates. Otherwise, it's just an intellectual thing. And it's lovely to have examples. So if you have anything you'd like to share, I would very much appreciate it. The moon is still in gate 55, and it's the solar plexus, gate of the spirit, moving into gate 37 at 1650. Another solar plexus gate. This is the gate of the family, the gate of friendship, with a strong sense of community and an open and friendly disposition that easily engages with others and enables them to hold a family or community structure together. A central theme for this gate is the bargain. Everything is built around a bargain or a contract of some kind. So this could be a good time to examine some of those bargains that maybe have been a bit hidden in your life. You know, bring them out into the open. Make sure that actually it's a bargain you want in your life. And Ra often uses the example of, I'll do the dishes, you take out the rubbish. And that's a good example that needs to be, yes, this is what we do. Otherwise, one party or the other can get very resentful. But there are so many little hidden bargains that we find in life. And it's not until we examine them that we can even put our finger on and say, gosh, I actually did make a bargain there and I didn't realize it. I have the 3740 as my only channel. And so this is something I'm very familiar with. I will very often have an expectation, we all know about expectations, around somebody doing something because I've done something, or I just expect them to do it as part of the bargain they have with life. And it doesn't work. Why would it? It's not their expectation, it's not their path. But it's a really interesting journey for me to be aware of what bargains I'm creating without anybody actually even knowing that I'm doing it. Yeah, bargain does need to have kind of two sides, something I've learned. And at 2:20 tomorrow morning, we move into gate 63, the gate of doubt. This is the head center, and it's the gate that tells us in the spiral of life, all ends are beginnings. There can be a deep need to question things that one doesn't feel secure about, from the mundane to life's bigger questions. And the need, the desire is for logical answers that can be validated and relied upon in order to feel secure. And this is a sort of mirror to the Sun gate in 52. They are both logical pressure gates. One is there in the root and the other is there in the head, but it's the same circuit, top and bottom. And in the spiral of life, all ends are beginnings. Isn't that beautiful? Thank you very much for watching. There's another third line day, and we'll see you tomorrow for the 52-4. And until then, go gently and be well and take care.